Hey everyone, welcome back to the Call to Farms podcast. I'm your host, Tim Eng, the Homesteading Realtor, joined with my lovely wife, Sophie.
Hey everyone, I'm Sophie with Sprinkle with Soil and author of The Nourishing Asian Kitchen.
And it's about time that we do a March housing market update. So,
Lots going on,
mm-hmm,
lots of disruption. If you've been following the news, not like we get into politics, but it is undeniable that what's going on politically is also affecting the interest rates.
So what's going on?
Oh my gosh, so much is going on. So, as of today, now we are recording this a little bit late, but
Mhm.
what that means is you're getting the most up to date
There you go.
rates because actually, rates today and consistently for the last week, we've seen drops and it's been
Mm.
steadily dropping over the last 8 weeks. And that doesn't mean it's been like going down significantly, it's been going down, bouncing back up, but the interest rates are closely tied to the 10-year treasury bond yield, as I have
Mm.
explained in the last market update, which as of today, March 5th, is at 4.28%. And mortgage rates also fluctuate based on these yields. So currently, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is around 6.73%. And with President Trump's tariffs in effect, these could lead to higher home prices as construction costs increase, potentially hurting affordability. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
inflation rates are at 3%, and this influences the overall economic environment and the housing market. So,
Yep.
these are things and important things to consider when discussing home prices and the housing market.
Yeah, and in addition to the rising inflation or just trying to curb inflation, there's also rising unemployment rates as well. If you've been watching the news, both federal government, so public sector, as well as private sector, we know friends in our local towns that have received layoffs.
Yeah, that's right. We were just
Mhm.
talking to someone tonight about he works in the steel industry.
Yeah,
And after the end of the day today,
right.
because of the rising cost of inflation and because of the tariffs to steel, now their clients aren't able to make the purchases for the steel pieces. And so they had to lay off, I
The whole
think,
shift.
the entire afternoon shift,
That's right.
which is concerning
It is.
because we're in a very small town and we're feeling,
And it's not even like a luxury item, it's manufacturing.
yeah, because of
Wow,
the tariffs that's happening, right?
exactly.
And what's interesting is he said that, I guess I can share it because we're saying anonymous here, but he was saying that the pieces that he's making
Mhm.
since October,
Yeah,
so October 2024,
right.
these pieces are for Israeli bulldozers.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Interesting how that all tied in. Wow, it's like they knew.
again, we're
Hmm,
not going to talk politics.
no,
No,
but
just kidding.
it is
It is,
disturbing.
it is disturbing. Like
Yeah, it's
it's just like
really.
real talk, and that's what we want to provide for you are just the facts
Mhm.
of what we hear is going on. We talk to quite a bit of people in many different industries. And
Right,
I stay apprised with the tech industry, to the interest rates in the mortgage industry, real estate.
right.
And it's very interesting to see. And obviously, we're in the food and farming industry. So
Right,
we can see how it affects everything. And as much as we try to stay apolitical,
right.
it does affect our everyday lives. And it's almost impossible,
Exactly.
especially with the new administration coming in. The last one, too. But
The both.
it's,
And federal government jobs, it's not all in Washington, D.C., and even small town America, where we're at, feeling the effects. There are ripple effects to the decisions that are being made, whether it's trying to curb inflation, it's still going to hurt the affordability of homes, especially with rising costs of materials, which is a fact with the tariffs that are being implemented. I understand that it's all about trying to keep jobs and keep work in America, but it's also driving up costs substantially all across the board.
and there's a lot of economic disruptions
Hmm.
with what Elon Musk is doing within the government with Doge and other factors
Right.
that could negatively impact the housing market. So we're going to see higher unemployment. And this reduces the buyer confidence and the purchasing power. So
Yep.
people are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
It's leading to decreased demand for homes. But also, if you're in the DC, Virginia, and Maryland area, there's going to be an increase of homes for sale. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because that's what I did a couple of weeks ago is I ran a search for new homes that were listed in the last 14 days
Yeah.
when Doge was announced,
Right.
this return to office policy. And so many people in the DC area, essentially, like there were hundreds of homes in the DC area that were selling.
Yeah.
And the investment part of me, because I went to school in DC,
Mm-hmm.
I was actually telling you, I'm like, ooh, there is my old dorm room was
Yeah.
this great place. And now they've just opened up a Whole Foods literally within steps away from where I used to live.
Right.
Wasn't there before. I had to go to the Watergate to Safeway with my backpack. And so I'm like, it's a great time to invest, but also we are not interested in investing in DC.
No, but we can't. That is a great example where we can't make a broad stroke remark and say all of housing is going to go up. So in this bubble, where actually, like in the DC area, where it was once unattainable, could actually be a great find. You'd be able to, if you're watching and observing the housing market, especially in that neighborhood, you're going to probably get a good find because there's a lot more listings coming up. That's not really a great thing, but a lot more listings coming up. Now, all across the board, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult, especially if you're looking to sell a home. But if you're looking to purchase, now would be a good time, obviously, to make that purchase. I'm making a general statement here, but especially in the East Tennessee area, now would be a good time to make that purchase before rising costs of materials and when people start pulling back.
But it's not just East Tennessee. I think a lot of people are we just have to realize after 2020, and actually we're already seeing migrations out in 2019.
We are.
A lot of the people that we've met here, I've asked them, like, when did you move out here? And a lot of them said 2019. It's people know there's this sense of uneasiness, and 2019 was before 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020.
Right.
So it's very interesting because I feel like yet another wave is here. And I don't know if it's because we just started hosting, now it's our second month of our home buying webinar, but the conversations that we've been having with people within the chat for our webinars and the conversations that we've had afterwards, it's been really interesting because people, regardless of what this update is and what I'm telling you is happening with interest rates, rising inflation, rising unemployment numbers, people know that it's time to go.
Yeah. And it's on both sides of the aisle. Not that when I'm speaking to a lot of people who are looking to grow their own food and to own land. And I can tell that this is very attractive no matter what side of the political aisle you're on.
Bipartisan.
Right.
And I think that's why we are good at what we do, because we're very skeptical of everything. And so we're not tied.
But we're very supportive of all these people that are reaching out to me. They want to, for instance, I just had a call this evening, and she and her friends are artists and they want to create a commune and they want to grow food. That's the beautiful thing. That's awesome. And I have other people who want to, like earlier this week, want to just get lost in the woods and be able to live off grid. That's great too. Yeah.
I think all of it's good. Again, food and farming is bipartisan. In fact, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. The facts are the facts. Like, we're being poisoned by our food, and the cost of food is rising. Everybody knows, regardless if you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent or libertarian or anarchist or capitalist, you know that a carton of eggs now, you were just in Knoxville, right? At Whole Foods, and it was like $15.
And it was actually gone. It was empty.
Yeah. And it's frightening. And that should scare you.
Yeah.
It really should, because we actually lost quite a bit of our church friends back in 2020 when we said this, that we were going to experience hyperinflation and costs were going to rise, because they're like, why are you leaving California and everything to farm? And I said, I could be completely wrong, in which that's fine. At least we have some extra skills. Or if I am right, if we are right, then at least we'll be in a position and be prepared to help others.
Yeah.
So it's not like I wished for any of this.
No.
Trust me, yesterday
We don't.
we were driving in the car after milking, and I was just doing this and wiping my hand across my face.
Yeah.
And then I realized that after milking and stripping the cow, she had been resting in the mud with some of her feces. And
delicious. Yeah, thanks.
and I'd wiped it on my face.
Yeah.
So
Good times.
there are moments, there are many moments in the homesteading lifestyle that I'm like, why can't I just buy my food in the grocery store?
Well,
It's like what, 5 years in, and they say the burnout rate is what, 4 years?
typically, but even within the homesteading local communities, they were freaking out over egg shortages, chick shortages. So they're even talking about incubating eggs. So even when you're homesteading, there are these things that we're worrying about. I can only imagine if you're living in the city right now or in suburbia, having to deal with a rising cost and perhaps even worrying about whether or not your job is stable. So if you're on the fence or if you're dreaming about homesteading, what's stopping you? Because if you've got that employment, if you've got the money now, you may need to start making those moves. And in the past couple of weeks, the majority of my calls of people who have reached out to me, they want to buy in phases. They want to get the land, they want to start building in phases because they see the importance of growing their own food. All right. So that's a housing market update. Reach out to us and make sure to sign up for our monthly home buying webinar or home buying course, one-on-one course. So even if this isn't your first time buying, you can actually tap into both of us. We have a live Q&A, and so we have a great time. The next one is going to be held on March 28th. That is a Friday at 6 p.m. So if you don't know what you're going to be doing on a Friday night, spend time with us because we have a good time.
We do. And there's actually several folks from the February webinar that showed up the second time because they were there in our January
They did.
course. So that was really cool. They just wanted to hang out and chime in. And they're, I think, 2 years out of moving from California out to here. And it's just really great because our classes are different. Every month it's different because we give you a really intimate update with what we see is going on.
That's exactly right.
Like this, but a little bit more specific, a lot more specific.
That's right. So thank you so much for joining us on tonight's podcast. Oh, we also started a Call to Farms YouTube channel. So help us out. And if we can ask for a small favor, just hit that subscribe button to that Call to Farms YouTube channel. It encourages us to put more content out there. Thank you so much. Until next time, stay healthy.
Bye, friends.